there.
You're trying to come to me in a
I was
minute.
just making an observation, that's all.
I'm not you, sir.
Sqwadcast. Episode 35. Yep. Part 1. This is one of 2, possibly 3. See, we've discussed the trilogy about this. This is the guys' episode of dating. So we have the return of Kelvin, Anchovio, keeping his squad streak alive, and Eric.
Yeah.
Yes. I got your name wrong before.
Pronounce it perfectly.
Yeah. I said the wrong name before, so I wanted to make sure I remembered the right name.
4 letters, 2 syllables.
Yeah. Eric is new squad member. We've had a few as of late. Squad is growing. At least the people talking are growing. Let's see about. Squad Nation needs to grow.
They will. If we build it, they will come.
Stop. There's my grievance right there.
You know that I have my last name is the one in Field of Dreams.
What?
I have the same last name as the character and the author of Field of Dreams.
Oh, I know. I never realized his name, so pretty cool.
Yeah, fun fact. All right, so I guess we'll start with the grievances. We'll start off as always. I guess I'll start. Unless anybody else wants to.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Shoot your shot.
Wait, don't take time. Come on. Let's hear it.
So, Snapchat.
Shocker.
Yeah. All right. Fifth straight episode?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. I have an actual grievance too, but the Snapchat grievance of the week will be, I hate when this isn't Snapchat specific, it's more like when people acknowledge a snap not through Snapchat, if that makes sense. Like they don't snap or message you back. They'll like
snap them and then they'll like text you about it.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
So like they don't just like message you like through the snap.
No, it's like a
text
text or like in person. That happened to me the other night. One of my friends was like, "Yeah, I saw your snap," and I was like, "So why didn't you respond at the time? You're telling me in person you found it funny. Why not just snap or message if you're like
you're already on the app, like you can still send a message."
Yeah,
like don't exit out just to open up your message and they decide that.
Yeah, that's the most superfluous thing in the world.
That's a lot of extra steps.
It's the absolute worst.
A lot of unnecessary shit.
That's.
What kind of sociopath does that? Who do you hang out with? Like,
well, I don't hang. It's via
I
Snapchat.
don't hang out with anybody.
Who do you know that does that?
Who do you hang out with?
Too many
Nobody.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, it's happened more often than it should. It's not every person I Snapchat. I want to get that straight. But yes, there are a select few, and I'm just like, I'm not Snapchatting you anymore.
Yeah, I can't imagine like putting that much effort in.
Yeah. Like, But that's my Snapchat.
Yeah, I mean, like I can understand like if you want to like. If you're like trying to send like a GIF or something like that, because like, I feel like a perfect GIF would apply.
GIF. There's my grievance right
There
there.
you go.
There's my grievance.
The creator of the acronym
said it's
GIF.
GIF.
It's pronounced GIF.
I don't give a fuck about the creator of the acronym.
Yeah.
What?
He's dead to me for I don't even what's his name? Can you tell me his name right now?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't care about him.
I just know that he calls it a GIF.
And
so
I know
call it a GIF.
the rest of us as a population call it a GIF.
So there you go. 3 out of every 4 people call it a GIF.
3 out of 4 people are assholes. You know.
Be mad because the odds aren't in your favor.
Sean Black in America, the odds are never in my favor. What do you mean?
Fair.
Alright, sorry, go ahead.
I'm like sometimes black.
Is it an acronym? I thought it was just an abbreviation.
Yeah, it's an abbreviation.
That's
it
what
is.
It's not an acronym. It's just it's a dot. It's like
no. It's what graphic interface?
Yeah, it actually is.
No, it stands for something.
I don't remember. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure it actually.
I forget what the F is though.
But we go back to the point here. Antonio.
You don't know what the F stands for. You don't know the owner.
Alright, what was
So
you pronounce it wrong.
What does the G stand for in GIF? Graphic? You said?
Here we go.
How do
I know exactly.
Do you say graphic or do you say graphic?
He actually got the 2 first words right. It's graphics interchange format.
Oh, interchange. That's the interface. I had the intro right.
You got 1.5 words.
Yeah.
You thought it was zero right.
I'm not the one defending it. I was on the Tinder subreddit, and they did the Rick and Morty gif, like show me what you got. Right, as like a pickup line, and somebody said, "Oh, that's a funny GIF," and spelled it with a PH.
Oh, that's probably triggering a lot of people.
Yeah, like that might be worse than GIF. Like if you
for sure. I mean, he added to it as a separate.
Yeah. But yeah. Everybody else?
Tony.
Whose turn was it?
I don't know. Well, I got my Snapchat one. I still have an actual one.
Oh, okay,
I
yes.
don't want to
All right. So what's your actual one?
My actual one is when people say like some people tell me to or suggest like if I find a new job or something, because I was on the job hunt, still kind of am, and they say like, oh, have you tried like in northern Pennsylvania or in like down south and stuff like that. I'm like, no, because I don't want to move again. And also, there's a lot of opportunity where we're at undisclosed studios. So like some people do, but they have the luxury of like being single or by themselves, and they don't have a lot, or they have family spread out or something like that. And like, it's fine if that's your case, but like, don't keep suggesting it to me, because I'm not like, that's my decision. I'm not gonna go that far away. As of right now, and people are like, oh, it's not too bad. I've done it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not you. Like,
yeah.
Like I've kind of settled into where I'm at right now, and there's plenty of opportunity around location.
The state in which we live in
Yes.
is not a small state.
Right.
And they're just trying to push out the state. Oh.
Right. Just got used to the state. So that's just gotta. One of my former coworkers used to do that because we grew up in the same state and ended up in the same new state. So, he was like, "Why don't you just go back?" I'm like, "Cause I moved away for a reason." I mean, it is. Yeah, it's not the best, and I also like the only person I still talk to that I was friends with moved to New York, so it's like not even like any of my friends are still there. Like, I would leave everything I've grown to go back to where. But yeah, just let me live my life. Like, yeah, don't try to convince me otherwise. Just, I'm doing my thing.
Right. Like
people do their thing.
You're comfortable in the environment that you're in. You feel like you shouldn't have to like pick up and fully adapt to like a whole new, completely different environment, and that's understandable. It makes complete and total sense. Like nobody, like not too many people would be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and like get up and uproot my entire life after I just settled in and moved in." You know,
like people say that's so fucking catchy. Like, they're so dumb.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you can move across the country, right? Like you can move across the state lines. It's easy. They do it in the movies all the time.
I would say job, housing.
Yeah.
Like even
let me
if
go
I
ahead and just
move
without a actual job put in place. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that.
So,
but I feel like at that time, like you're like in a catch-22 because like if you're like looking for somebody else, like someplace else, like you got to look for the job over there, and it's like tough to like find the job, and then like also be like, oh yeah, like let me go out for interviews and things like that while you're however many hours away, you know, like I'm still living here, like you know how much more of an inconvenience it would be for me to like go for an interview and like me like taking an hour and a half to get someplace, and
like you're on a job hunt here. Yeah. So their idea, hey, why don't you move hours away and do another job hunt? That makes no sense.
To then may or maybe not get the job.
Yeah, like all my connections are here. All my all the internships I've done are here. Everybody knows each other here. It's kind of a tight kit.
Yeah. What's the point of networking? Like what they tell you to do while you're in school.
Yeah, literally. No.
If like you're just gonna move out of all the connections of your network, that makes no sense.
Time to move to the Bay Area.
Take your house to South Beach now.
Moving to Antarctica. Me and Peter. Me and Feathers McGraw.
Feathers McGraw.
Stupidest thing I've ever done in my life.
Not until you take him out.
Oh yeah, and then he flosses with. Then, what's the other? Orange Justice is all the dances that the youths are doing.
Oh yeah, from that video game.
Yeah, from Fortnite.
Yeah, that video game that's somehow very popular. That played for a week and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I have never played.
I tried. I was like, I want to see what the hype's all about, and then I was like, oh wow, this is a pretty terrible game.
Yeah, this fucking sucks.
It's like I didn't know I needed to play like Hunger Games just in real life like that. Like that's the video game. That's basically what it is.
It is. It's like a cartoony version because PUBG was.
Yeah, PUBG was. I guess the original.
Yeah,
they
that was more like realistic. Like you'd have to find like build it. Like Fortnite, you're like building shit and killing people with like shovels and shopping carts. Like
it sounds like my father.
Yeah. Let me invest. I had this one coworker who I don't know what he's doing. But the dude is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become a professional like Fortnite player. I'm like, oh, what happens when nobody plays Fortnite?
Yeah, what happens this time next year? Like,
like it's gonna die out. It's eventually
everything dies. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like Call of Duty or something like that, like where you have that franchise that's like so embedded into people, then like.
Or Halo.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Like even like Overwatch is getting to that that level, and that's like pretty ridiculous with just the one game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out like 3 years ago.
I think
it just celebrated 3 years. Yeah. So like closer to 3.5 now.
So it's like just it's the new fidget spinners. It's a new trend. Fortnite's gonna end at some point.
We're back in high school. Those fucking like animals.
Oh, the animal.
Oh, the silly
bands.
With a Z. Silly bands with a Z.
Silly bands. Oh my god.
Before that, it was like one person decided like everybody like it was like the Live Strong bracelets, and then everybody else got like made their own knockoff bracelets.
Yeah, that was back.
People would have like 20 on their wrist, and have them all the way like up their elbow.
How strong do you need to live?
It's like what would Jesus do and shit. Like
I was that kid.
I wanted to be that kid.
I was that kid.
I had like 5, and it all stayed down on my wrist.
None of them fit on my wrist.
Okay, back to grievances.
Yeah. So who's next? I did my 2.
Okay, I got one.
All right.
Mine is when people who lack a certain amount of pigment in their skin, not calling you guys out directly.
About to get a glass of water in the face.
It's when they think that because I act a certain way or I present myself in a certain way that I'm not as black as the way that they pretend. So
I actually understand exactly what he's saying.
So for instance, like I was at work and this one kid that I work with was like, oh, like you're not ghetto enough, like you're not black enough. I'm like he's like, oh, I'm blacker than you. This little white kid. I'm sorry, dude. Like, are you getting gunned down in the street? Are your people getting gunned down in the street like that? That's my question is like, and I'm like, you can't sit here and tell me that I'm not blacker than you because I don't present myself in a way because I don't like
in the stereotypical.
Because there's no what do I gain from that? Like I work in a service industry. Like I'm not gonna make any money. It's that's how I present myself. Like that's fine. Like you can live your life the way that you want to live yours, but don't try and sit here and try and validate my experiences.
One up.
Yeah. Like just because I'm not acting the way that you envision my people act. That's messed up because I've never acted like that. I don't feel the need to validate my skin complexion by acting like that in any way. So don't try and tell me that I'm not acting that way. So I'm not black enough because I'm not acting that way. I was like, you don't know what I've been through.
Kind of how
y'all don't know me.
My outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But it's okay because we're both black.
Right. So exactly. Yeah. We can do these things. But
we have to shut up.
I'm not saying that white people have to shut up.
You don't drink enough Guinness. You're not Irish enough.
Riverdale's now.
You don't like Natty Boh? Get the hell out of Maryland.
Where the fuck is your kilt, man? But I was like, you can't sit here and tell me that I'm not black enough, quote unquote, because I don't talk a certain way or act a certain way. I'm like, no, I just don't want to be seen in the eyes of the community that I'm around as a person who portrays himself in that manner. Because I don't need that. Like I've worked hard to build the reputation that I have and build the personality and build who I am as a character. And like I don't need that to be in question because like you think I should be acting like blacker than what I am at the given time.
Yes, even though there's a billion different kinds of black people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're not the fucking same.
Yeah.
We didn't come out of a bottle.
Yeah, like, like, obviously, like, downtown Baltimore black people are going to be different than the Nigerian black people.
And
like
the Atlanta black people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're all, like...
The California blacks.
Right, they're all...
And then Jamaican and...
Haitian.
Yeah.
I like we went from the East Coast to the West Coast. There's no Nebraska black people. Like, there's not. That's what I'm saying.
No, it was funny. It was funny. It has like all of 3 black people. And they play football with the Cornhuskers.
Not a single black person on the basketball team. No, but it was funny because like SNL just had a skit that was actually talking about. It was really funny because it was like a Confederate, like it was like a white supremacy group kinda, and they were talking about like how there was too many black people in their area, like Virginia or something like that. And they're like, the one guy was sitting in the crowd, he's like, yeah, just move up to Vermont. Like, like the whole thing is just hysterical because like, yeah, Vermont has all that. It was Adam Driver who had hosted it. It was the first week.
It was the first. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
So it was really funny. And like, cause like I thought back to like the one time that I visited Vermont and like I was riding. It was really funny because I was riding a bike around like Vermont. Because it was at my uncle's like my uncle's they had a summer house up there, and like I was just riding a bike around and this little white kid like started looking at me and it like kept looking at me. Like, I was like, man, what, you never seen a black man before? He just like turned around and kept on walking because I'm pretty sure he had never seen one before.
And then you barked at him.
That doesn't really do me justice, obviously, but I thought it was funny at the time. I was awful. Hey, you know me from my younger years, like how messed up I was.
Was?
Yeah, how bad I was, how bad I used to be.
Because you're not that way now, right?
No, exactly.
Oh, all right, cool.
I've reformed. I've changed.
Oh yeah.
So there's my grievance.
Along with it, I mean I'm black too, so that's my daily grievance. But for this, mine are the people in the gym who ask you to work in. Especially when the gym's empty. So they're like, hey bro, you mind if I work in and do a few sets? Bitch, well, one, yes.
This is a...
One, because you see me on it, right? One, you can wait. Your time is not more important than mine. 2, you have the entire gym. Go do another exercise that works that same muscle. Get 40,000. Just go do it. You don't have to work it with me. It's annoying. And then they're like, how many more sets you got? Well, seeing as I just walked over here and you saw me walk over here, I'm going to say all of them. So go do something else. Wait till I come back. It's so annoying. Oh my God. And then you have the other gym douchebags in there with,
I just don't, like, my thing is, like, I've always had this issue, like, people who, like, go way too out with, like, their gym equipment. Like, they spend, their overall wardrobe is shit. But their workout wardrobe is like...
It's like $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. Like the nice, like all these bright ass Nikes. They have like compression pants for whatever reason. Don't know why you need those when you're doing bicep curls.
They'll come with like a travel size bag of just stuff.
Yeah, just walk around with it the entire day.
Chalk, straps, like extra shirts and pants. Like, dude, they have lockers, you dick. Like, you work out. We get it.
Yeah, we get it.
Piece of shit.
We understand. I hate that. Like, people are just so obnoxious when it comes to like, oh yeah, like just unnecessary grunting and shit like that.
No, that's the worst. When I go to the gym, guys will bench press.
I'm like, you're benching 135, you little bitch. Shut up.
Yeah, just.
So like you're constipated, shitting out your brain.
Dude.
Like, you don't have anything better to do than spend 4 hours at the gym.
they're like, and like the worst is before they even lift. Like, they'll do all these crazy exercises,
stretches,
pre-lift, be like...
And then they do one rep.
And they do one rep. They do like 10 minutes of prep for one rep. I'm like, you're a piece of shit. Go home.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So gym douchebags, that's my difference.
Yeah. And then like there are a lot of them. They come in all like shapes.
I hate the ones that wear bandanas.
Yes.
Like,
they come in all shapes and sizes.
My personal biggest hatred is the guy who is like doing like a lot of weight, like doing like a certain exercise, but then doing the exercise wrong. And I'm like, you're not working, like, I was like, oh, like, you're just doing this, like, you're not working anything out. You're like, it looks like you're just jacking off the air.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're
just jacking off.
And they'll put like 10,000 pounds on the leg press and do like ankle raises and go like 3 inches.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
yeah,
what do you, like, you know what? Fuck it. I hope you snap your leg.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Like, I hope you snap both of them. Like, and this is like a full on, like, this looks like Deadpool right now. Like, that's what I hope.
Oh my god.
Like nothing, like I don't want to say nothing will give you more pleasure than to see that, but there
few
would be
things.
very few things that would happen in life that would give me more pleasure than to see your little bony ass legs snap because you decided that you were gonna try and finally do leg day for the first time in your life and try starting off at 450 pounds.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think we need a breath.
Oh
and
my
your nose
god.
out your mouth. All right.
Said nothing would make me more happy than watching your bony legs snap in half. Oh my god.
Like I hope something happens to you, like you end up like Oscar Pistorius, like Polo Ting Ting, just like
God damn. Dude.
Now, we don't mean, and also killing is.
no,
like,
not also killing your fiance on Valentine's
Really
Day.
hope you become a murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Because that's just not good for anybody. But like, you know, like snapping your legs and becoming like, you know, still being successful in like Special Olympics. There we go. It's a happy ending.
Oh my god.
All right, Eric, you're
Yo. God, man. That's hard to follow up with that one. That was funny as hell. I think something that really pissed me off recently is all the hate Venom got as a movie.
Okay.
And I thought the movie was amazing.
I
I wouldn't say it was on the level of Infinity War or something like that, but it definitely wasn't Catwoman.
Yeah, well,
Big critics go saying it was.
there are very few things that are Catwoman.
I don't think it
Or
was
what?
that.
I'm not saying
bad.
Tom
I
Hardy
think it
looks
was
like Halle Berry, but the movie.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard that. Like I saw, like it got really negative reviews.
It got like
Rotten Tomatoes.
it got like a 35%.
Yeah.
way opposite of the.
Yeah, but
It got like a 35% from the critics, but a 90% from the fans.
Yeah, but I've heard from the fans that it was that they actually did enjoy it. So
Yeah, I thought it was, as a movie, I thought it was kind
I
of
enjoyed
rushed. There were some parts where you're like, you could have slowed down that a little bit, but overall, I was like,
Yeah,
this
like,
is a lot better than I thought it
I
would be.
thought that the villain introduction was like super rushed. Like they gave like no detail at all, and then they just had the little thing. But
What sucks when I went and saw it is they actually had like an emergency, so like all the alarms went off right before the movie was about to begin,
Oh, really?
and they evacuated the entire movie theater.
Man.
They were like, "Here, we'll give you guys a rain check so you guys can come and see it for free again." And then I just sat around and waited for 30 minutes, and they let everybody in, and there was like 3 people in the theater now.
There you go.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did you still keep the free?
Yeah, I did.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
didn't even use it. Yeah.
Work smarter.
That's what happened when I saw Thor Ragnarok. The 3D was messed up for like the first like 5 minutes. Yeah, and so people were complaining and then like they were like, "Here's a free pass for another." Like it was fixed really quickly given the circumstances. They were just like, "Oh yeah, it's like good to go now."
See,
So we still saw the other 2.5 hours of the movie.
Yeah.
Like fine.
Well, I had that with Sorry to Bother You. Like it was like they just had a power outage in the movie theater, and like there was no sound that was coming through the TV, like through the screen at all. Like the screen was working fine, but there was no sound that was coming through. So like they gave us like full refunds, and then like gave us like passes for like Tuesday or whatever, like for a Tuesday night. You know, it's like $5 movies, they're half off or whatever.
Discount day.
Discount day.
That's when I saw Venom. I actually saw Venom on the Regal, not the Cinemark.
Okay.
But it was before noon, so it was like $3 cheaper.
Oh yeah.
And I had a gift card, so
Gotta love a gift card.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that Friday came out, and the ticket was like $8. But I guess it was because it was in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
too.
Honestly, that's my favorite time to go.
Yeah, it really is.
Because all the little shits aren't in school.
Yep.
And
Oh my
everybody-
God.
Especially this time of year.
When I saw the
At work,
when I
so
saw the
whatever.
Incredibles 2, I saw it at Security Square Mall, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. Seeing that at nighttime.
I could
I
have
could
told
have
you
told
that.
you.
Yeah.
You live there, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Going to Security Square Mall in general is like,
Yeah.
you're wrong. You've already don't pass go.
The last time I
$200.
set foot in the mall was when Modell's was still there.
Wow.
I go
That
to
was
the
the last
food
time.
court, and that's it. And that's not even often because I'm not even around that way anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would personally be very afraid to go there. So
It's-
we don't. We also don't even go
It's-
to the one
it's
like
got
we don't
a
even,
lot.
like don't even go to the one by my house because we're like it's not
That's
good
not
enough.
even a mall anymore.
It's a Costco now. Yeah,
Oh yeah, there's a new Costco.
yeah, it's a Costco.
That's what it is now?
Yeah.
Is it open? No, it's not open yet.
I think it's opening soon.
Is,
Like
is it this weekend?
I think it's this weekend actually.
Yeah.
Where the OM Malls was.
Yeah, it's right next to the movie theater.
Well, I've not been over there in that long.
I
And
personally haven't
because
even
I
seen
went-
it.
No, yeah, because if it's about to open this weekend, I know.
Yeah, I personally haven't seen it at all. It's my parents tell me about it, and like
Okay.
we got something in the mail. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's opening like this weekend, which is ridiculous. I mean, there's still BJ's like not even 5 minutes.
No.
And but the Sam's Club did just shut down over there. So it makes
It
sense.
did?
Come on now,
I don't live over there. How would I know?
because you know the area. You should know enough that
But BJ's is still open.
that's inexplicable to me.
Yeah, so that's why I was shocked.
Well, all right.
People just need
Yeah.
to buy things in bulk, and then like there's only one place that they're going, and it wasn't Sam's Club.
Yeah, it was one or the other. Even though it's the same.
People just want to get a hot dog for $1.25. Can't blame them.
Or Dippin' Dots.
Yeah, or Dippin' Dots. 'Cause-
BJ's did have like that like hot food section and Dippin' Dots, and Sam's Club does not. So.
No, Sam's Club is trash.
Wow.
So I don't know. I really don't know. Sam's Club. I
No,
can't remember the last time I've been
Sam's
inside.
Club's a goddamn godsend.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Except to the people they laid off completely randomly
yeah,
overnight.
they like shut down
Yeah, well, except
stores overnight. Yeah.
Except for that. Just
other than
like-
that, complete
Other
gods.
than that, yeah.
They have no flaws.
All right, so transitioning from socioeconomics of our area to dating. Then our main topic, we got our grievances and then some out of the way. So dating, we're gonna try to do this kind of, probably not, but we'll try, in chronological order of being single, the beginning stages of a relationship to an actual relationship, maybe about breakups, maybe not, because that's kind of a sensitive area, and then the questions at the end will be about dating as well. So for those of you who stay listening the entire time and love our fan questions, this week we'll change it up a little bit. So it'll still be questions, but just about dating in general. So and possibly even compare it to what it was to how much dating has changed as well from our high school years, even early college years to now, because most of us are age-wise out of the college years. So I guess we'll jump right into it with the beginning of being single and how you went about that, I guess. Just being single, looking for someone. Like, did you guys, actually, males, not the generic term that I use for groups of people. I got yelled at in college for that. Teacher was like, you can't use guys in the classroom because there are girls involved. I'm like, I can't not say guys. Yeah.
I'm not gonna call a bunch of kids folks. Like,
Yeah.
Folks.
how you doing, folks?
Like, what's up, kids?
Hey, people.
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah.
Hey, young people.
Youths.
Yeah.
Youths. Speaking of youths, I got a kimono. But it is a lot. But it is a lot longer than his. It goes down past what he. Yo, that show. Yo, it's silky smooth. Yo, it feels good. I promise you.
That's gonna be my quote. Because like,
Does it caress your balls in an appropriate way?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe.
Oh my god.
I'll show you guys.
please don't.
Most of the time I have one. Okay, we're getting around. We can talk about this all day.
Is that how you get women in Chovio?
Oh, I
Just
sent-
wear a kimono
I sent
all
them-
the
I'm like,
in the-
ooh, that's exotic. Let me see what's underneath.
And then they don't Snapchat you back.
Oh no! And then they also call the cops. And I'm just like, well, so restraining orders, and I don't know why. It's the kimono.
This has been a weird day.
You're wild.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so I guess being single compared to high school, early college years to now, you know, with was it like 5 years ago now, like Tinder kind of exploded and changed the scene, and then Bumble kind of followed suit, and then
No, it's what, Hinge?
I think it's Hinge, yeah.
Something like that.
oh well, Hinge. What is Hinge?
Yeah, it's a
A
new one.
dating app.
It's a new dating app.
But it's something weird. It's like I think it's like you match.
It's not like
and then you can see their last name, and then it's. I think you have to like a picture before you can message or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's too
anything about
complicated.
this. Like even when I was single, I didn't use
Also, I
Tinder.
could be wrong. Could
Yeah.
be way wrong about that. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing. Like as
let's
many
see
flaws.
because I have it on my phone.
Oh yeah, Eric,
Yeah.
you said.
There you go.
That
Came
one.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us how it works.
It's basically it's not really swiping. So like I'll show you guys. So you like see a picture, but it's like multiple pictures,
Yes.
and you answer like some questions, and it'll be like in between your picture or whatever. And you just either like them, and you can even send a comment when you like them, or you can just X them out. Like yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a big check right there.
That's
But yeah,
I think that was.
it's like a formal.
You know
Like,
what?
kind
I
of
feel like that gives you a better chance to like get a swipe right, like
Because I mean,
like
you send a
here's-
like and you can send a comment too.
Yeah, like here's a little bit of my personality as with the like.
Yeah.
So that's neat. All right.
As the only one out of us that uses it.
Exactly.
You find, I don't know if you use others or just compared to real life, or
No, I
how
do.
you normally go
I
about.
have like 5 dating apps. I'm so low.
Do you have farmers only?
What?
Do you have farmers only?
No, I don't. No. I got Bimble, Hot or Not,
Bimble.
Bumble,
Bimble.
Hot or Not, Tinder, and Hinge.
Wait. Wasn't Hot or Not that thing on Facebook like 10 years ago?
Was it?
What became Facebook, basically?
I don't know. Wow.
Well, according to the social network.
Well, but there was like this
Yeah.
like little app on Facebook. It was like Hot or Not, and I was.
I mean, I did see it on Facebook, but I thought it just connected the apps.
Well,
But again,
yeah,
it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
seventh grade, so.
According to the social network, I don't know how accurate that was, but it was Mark Zuckerberg created Hot or Not because girls found him an asshole because he is.
I can't imagine why.
And he like in the movie, I won't say how accurate it is in real life, but in the movie he got drunk and created this app called Hot or Not, and he shared it with all his friends, and basically that was it. It was just Hot or Not, and they were rating girls around campus, and then that led to him creating Facebook, or stealing the Winklevoss twins' idea of Facebook.
Yes.
So.
Can you believe that there was a movie made off of Facebook and it's been around for not even 10 years?
Facebook started in
2006, so what, 12 years?
Yeah, that was when it
But
had
even
its
those early
college.
stages when it was
Just at Harvard, and then it was only colleges.
when it was still the Facebook,
because when my
people
brother
a lot
got
of
it,
people don't really know about it.
yeah, my brother got fairly early. When he was a senior in high school, he graduated 2006 from high school.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, well, if you're on it, I'm gonna get on it because I'm a little brother and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you can't. You need a college email. And I thought he was just being a dick to me. And he's like, no, seriously, you can't unless you have a college email. And me being an 8th grader at the time was like, oh man, I can't just type in a college email and have it work. Oh, I guess I can't do Facebook. But then it expanded. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made mine in 7th grade. That's when I had that.
Yes, the bio. The bio to end all bios.
Yeah.
Have you seen this bio?
No.
Oh my god.
I remember
Dude, I was 12. I was
It's magical.
I
remember freshman year at St. Joe, people really thought I was gonna be a school shooter because of what I posted on Facebook.
Well,
Nice.
I mean, you give off.
Yeah, you saw me shooting the pistol at the at the fire range.
You're like, oh, this shit feels good.
That's a trigger. That's a trigger. Red flag.
After they say.
Yeah, there's the ladies' red flag for the dating part of the podcast. If he smiles while looking at a gun, that's a red flag.
But
back to what we were.
It's a lot different because high school, I was just like the first half, I was just like lonely and also like super horny because
high school.
We've
all seen Big Mouth.
Yeah, but Big Mouth is one thing, you know.
That's the one thing that all my friends are like, this is so accurate.
So I was just like lonely and horny, and I didn't know how to talk to girls at that point. So it just had to fall in my lap, which almost never happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say how many times.
And like there were no dating apps, and then it's like you already knew like most people in your high school.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it was like too late, but
the status quo kind of happens early on.
Exactly.
And kind of
like
I was friends.
I was like around.
Yeah.
Wasn't gonna talk about.
I was friends with like I don't want to say the popular group, but for lack of a better term, because we all, depending on where, there were the popular kids in marching band. They're the sociology of high school we're not going to get into, but like it was like the football players and the cheerleader. Like I was friends with them, but I wasn't like friends with them. Like we were friendly in class. We like would talk to each other at lunch or something, but like that was it.
Yeah,
you know, and
like
that's
you wouldn't go and
actively
hang out with people outside of that. Yeah,
and I had other friends that I would actively hang out with. And so, but I mean, we had the technology boom kind of our age with Facebook and
we
MySpace.
came in at the beginning. Ended it, especially. I mean,
so like
that
was
the instant
a better
chats
way.
and everything, especially like AOL, like what AIM,
AIM,
yeah. So like I mean, like you at least had like we at least had like that. So we came in at like the very beginning of it, and like where texting was becoming big.
Yeah.
You know, where like they started designing phones that were more specifically geared for texting, like the Sidekick and things like that.
Voyager.
Yeah. So like,
Razor.
people weren't doing.
My mom had a Razor for like 5 years.
Yeah, that was my favorite phone.
So people like weren't still doing like that T9 shit or whatever.
my lab partner in bio my sophomore year, he memorized the T9, so he would hold his phone under his lab desk, but like be looking at the board taking notes, but like typing with one thumb. And I'm like, how are you doing this?
It's pretty impressive.
It was. I was like, how much do you do this that you haven't memorized? Like, and can take in biology notes.
and that's it. I mean, that goes to show you like how how I used to like back when I was in high school, when I was like single and I was in high school when I was young and I just like wanted to interact with as many people as I possibly could. Like it was like I sent like 20,000 text messages in a month.
Yeah.
Like
me and my brother sent similar numbers, and then my parents would send like 200.
Yeah, and it was funny because
combined.
you can tell I don't have a very social brother because like you would look at the phone bill and I had like close to 20,000 text messages and my brother had 12.
And my parents were like, "Are you texting all day?" I'm like, "No, like it's just like rapid fire, like 10 people at one time."
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Like, it's
like 5-6 people at the same time, like bam, 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 bam. Like it was the summer too, so like it's not like I was doing anything.
Yeah,
like I was just like outside playing basketball, but then I would like hop back on the phone, bam, bam, bam. You know, like.
And then if I liked a girl, my go-to move just like poke her on Facebook.
Wow.
Again, I don't recall
this.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was like 14.
Yeah, exactly. If that's not the most early high school move, like that, that just goes to like show you how far like
nowadays, if you poke someone on Facebook, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Like,
why
are you like
you're a serial killer?
Like,
somebody on Facebook.
Like, you've been poked.
Like you're an adult, okay?
Speaking of which, I just poked somebody.
Did you?
No.
Dude, honestly though, that wouldn't shock me, bro. Like,
I know it wouldn't. That seemed like a poker.
But yeah, so it was easier to get like I had a couple of girls my junior year, senior year, who were like 8th grade and freshmen, like coming through marching band, because that's most of my life in high school was marching band, and they like. A lot of them would text me, and then I would text other people as well, and it was like a lot going on at once versus just like before that you didn't have that much access. So you think that guys helped or hindered the dating scene, or not, or silence? like was it easier to talk to girls in high school because of that?
I think just because of like constantly being around them.
Yeah.
If I wasn't scared, it would have been easier. Like me as a person now in high school, I'd have been trying to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Because like now I've done enough, I'm no longer scared. But like back then, I don't know how to talk to girls at all. So
It's like college completely changes you.
So like while I would say it's like easier access because you're like around girls your age, it's easier access. But if you're not like that outgoing and don't know how to spit game, quote unquote, then it might not be too fruitful for you.
Yeah.
But if you do, then you're around hundreds of girls.
Yeah.
So half of them are bound to fuck you.
And that was, I mean, for me, like when I was, especially early on in high school, like I didn't really have the most refined social skills. So like I wasn't.
What?
Yeah, I know. So like I wasn't great at talking to people in like person. So like my way of communication to other people was like through text, and like
my texting game was strong.
My texting game was a lot stronger than what I was while talking in person.
And then you meet him in person, you're like,
yeah, exactly. Like I don't have 3 words to say to you. But, like I'll go back home and I'll like we'll have like an 8-hour conversation.
I'll just walk inside the bathroom real quick and send you a bunch of
Like,
paragraphs.
sorry.
Yeah.
So it's kind of awkward, right? LOL.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like that's how like. I obviously don't want to speak from like the women's perspective, but like I feel like that's how it was for everybody at that time too. Like none of us, especially we're growing up like more like we were growing up like more in the era of like a technology era where it was like it was like all phones, all communication through that. So like nobody really developed a whole lot of like actual like interpersonal communication skills, like physical interpersonal communication skills. It's all been like through instant messaging, text messaging, things like that. I mean, like I said, I used to be terrible when it came to that. Like now I can sustain conversations, and I've developed in that aspect, so I'm not like as socially.
I've noticed with a few people, not really dating specific, but this is how it goes on Sqwadcast. That like the people who text a lot, like some people that I'm friends with who are like a few years younger than me have that subtle difference of like social interaction, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
And some people our age too are also bad, but I've noticed that like our age kind of know how to handle a social situation a little better than people who are like a few years younger than us.
Because like they grew up on
just
screen.
yeah. Like I look at it like now, like looking at like high schoolers now, like I've observed high schoolers through my girlfriend's sister. Like my girlfriend's sister like just graduated from high school.
Okay.
So like
I thought this was like
not like I'm hiding in the bushes.
I educate people.
Like taking notes and like perspective.
Got that ankle bracelet on.
Doing that.
Not Shia LaBeouf in there with.
I'm not supposed to be here. Gotta follow Jordan today.
But I would like going and seeing how they would interact and like seeing like how their interaction wasn't really there, especially like interpersonal, like talking to each other in real life, because like they grew up only knowing technology. Like that's it.
And that's what a 4-ish year difference. Maybe 3-ish. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably a little bit more than that.
I know.
5 or 6 years, I would want to say, like 5 or 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Difference.
So 5 or 6. Yeah.
And
So
it'll be like a group of them standing there, like all on their phones.
Yeah, exactly. And
like
we talked about it last episode a little
so
bit. Yeah.
Like they're together, but still like alone. It's quite interesting.
So my girlfriend's sister was like having problems like meeting new friends like on campus, like at their university, and it's because like. I don't know how it was when you guys went to college. Like when I was at school, like we had doors open all the time. Like
my door stayed open.
When we were always like
my first school we did, but I noticed that 2 or 3 years later, I tried it, and I was one of 2 people. It was me and my RA. Yeah. Who kept the doors open, and everybody else was like,
especially
like
in West, right? In West, like it was like
freshman year.
West Village.
Oh yeah, I was like in the West.
in like West Village, I feel like it's like that, like because you have your own bathroom in your room and things like that. So,
but
and that was like for me, like I had like there was an incentive to leave my room, like when I was at school. Like we had to like walk out to go to the bathroom and like see people and things like that. So like we do the interactions like that.
That was my selling point on tours for the 2 buildings.
Oh, okay.
That have that. They're the only 2 on campus, and I was like, and they also don't have air conditioning. I was like, but you get to see all your friends on your way to the bathroom.
But like,
and I would still leave my door open.
But the fact that they've lived in this technological age and like trying to get back to the actual topic at hand, I feel like that they're not really great when it comes to dating now because it's like all fast paced. There's no real like face to face communication. Yeah. It's all copious amount of dating apps and
sliding in the DMs.
Sliding exactly DMs.
Belly sliding into some DMs.
Right. Exactly. So I feel like now to look at this a single perspective now, it's gotta be tough. Like it's gotta
I would be curious to talk to a college freshman right now, like a single college freshman.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, like how it sounds weird.
I can get my brother on here. Oh. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just see like.
I feel like they're just like socially awkward now. Like
yeah, but it's just a different way of interaction, I guess, because they are good at texting and the Snapchatting and any other things.
Kids 12 years old, like Snapchatting, having like.
You got like 12-year-olds with like 20,000 followers on Instagram now.
Well, that's not safe for you.
Yeah.
Like you could be hurt. No, lock that down.
Yeah, it's just and I feel like it's like been a bigger like detriment to like actual like society and like actually dating right now.
Well, I think that kind of led into quote unquote hookup culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at a certain point, you're just kind of like, are we dating?
Yeah.
Or am I just coming over after midnight every Friday night?
And like hookup culture's always been there. It's just been tremendously exacerbated since we have quick text messaging where somebody can just send literally 3 letters and a question mark.
You up. WID.
Yeah. And like at 2:00 in the morning, you're like, oh yeah, like let me slide on over. Like like that's what society is now. Like that's not all of it, but like that's more so now. Like you're not getting that in the 80s. You're not getting that in our parents' generation. Like you're not like earlier on in our generation, we weren't really getting that, I'm
just thinking of
our parents' generation had to send a letter by mail.
Right, exactly.
Get it 3 days later.
Or have Bill Clinton walk you back from the library. That's gonna sound really weird to people who haven't watched it. Yeah. But so let's transition a little bit from just being single to the beginning stages of a relationship, since that's kind of what we were talking about. Like I know it's gonna be different for everyone, but at what point are you just like, hey, we're dating, and then into like we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
So okay, I mean, I know. All right, I'll start. I like to have the conversation pretty early on. So, like, hey, like, what are your intentions? Like, what do you want to get out of this, yada, yada? Because I feel like the longer you put it off, one, the higher chance you have of somebody being ghosted, which we talked about, which fucking sucks. And then, so there's no confusion or, like, hurt feelings. So, like, everybody's on the same page. We're just trying to let people like, hey, I mean, this is what I want.
With my ex, we had the conversation. Technically, it was our 6th date, but, like, there's a lot of confusion of what was our first date and what wasn't, but that's a different discussion. But basically, it was 5th or 6th, depending on who you ask. And we literally just sat down and we were like, so what are we doing? And we were on the same page, but it was more of a clarification than what's happening.
Oh, I fucked Billy because I thought we were just hooking up. Like, what do you mean? It's been 2 months. Like, we hang out all the time.
So, like, I know personally, like, I'm bad when it comes to that situation. Like, I will talk to somebody, like, in the relationship I'm in now, like, it took me a while to, like, actually, like, quote unquote, like, specifically ask her out. Because I just assume, like, for me in my mindset, I'm like, I think we're together. Like, I know I'm not talking to anybody else, like, about being in a relationship. Like, I know I'm not hooking up with anybody else. I know she's not either. Like, so, like, for me, in my mindset, I'm like, we're together. Like, and I never, like, thought about the idea of, like, specifically being like, hey, like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Because in my mind, I'm like, she's my girlfriend. Like, that's, like, I'm not dating anybody
else. Like you said
else.
with hookups, I think if you hooked up 3 times, you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Probably untrue, but alright.
I don't know, man.
I don't like that. And I don't really know that because I don't know anything about hookup culture. culture. Like I've never been into that. Like
honestly, I've hooked up with a few girls, but it's never been that
continuous.
Like we kept hooking up over and over and over again, and we weren't dating per se.
Okay, so I had like a few like friends with benefits, like we would just fuck, but like I wasn't dating her.
But was that established? Was that defined that you guys were like friends with benefits?
No, like we only would hang out just to have sex.
Okay.
Like it is like that kind of thing. Like we weren't hanging out outside of that. So in my mind, like
if you're hanging out too.
Well, but like even okay.
Did she come over and then coitus and then leave?
I guess you have to some kind of understanding or the circumstance, because like my senior year I was hooking with this girl and like we hang out and stuff too, but she lived in New York, I lived where I live now, so obviously it wasn't going to work out. So it was like
and I guess it gives certain scenarios
like a non-spoken understanding that like, hey, this is what this is.
Yeah, it's just like, and I understand the idea of like outlining things and like making sure like both people are aware of the situation that you're in, and I get that.
From personal experience, the same ex was basically like I was taking things slow because in the past I would take things way too fast. So with her, I was like, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to take things slow in the first few dates, which is why I say like it's confused on what dates were official dates and which were just us hanging out. She expected me to do more, like make more moves early on. It ended up working out for a little while at least.
And it's always tough, like figuring out like if the girl like wants to go fast or slow.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
that is the pacing is like almost always on you.
Yeah,
you just don't know. So like you don't know what to do.
But like you said, like
never figured out.
It's crazy.
Like you said, you were taking it slow, but she thought you were taking it fast. Because
she didn't think she thought I would she thought I was just hanging out with her instead of like dating, and she was like, I'm surprised like on this date you didn't like go in for the kiss, or like on this date you didn't ask me to stay over. And I was like, because it was our second date and I don't want to ruin this.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to be presumptuous and like then have that completely backfire on you. So it's better to play it safe and then not have that entire situation blow up on you.
Like if you go too fast, it comes off as, oh, I'm just trying to fuck. Yeah. But if you wait too long, it's like, oh, like, are we just friends? Like, it's another thing. It's crazy.
So, like, exactly. Like, that's always my, like, I don't know when the right moment is. Like, I don't think, like, us as men, I don't feel like that we, like, none of us.
We're like,
this is why we have a guy
as a species, like,
episode. Yeah.
Like, it's like women always talk about, like, how, like, oh yeah, like I love when he makes the first move. I love when he does this. But then, like for me, it's like I'm like, when do I do it? Like, when do I go in for a kiss? Like when do I try and like put sex on the table? Like that's even terrifying for me because like if I go in for something and I get shot down, then I'm like, wow, like.
What do I do now?
How many times you get shot before you're like, this isn't working?
Now this is an awkward situation with both of us.
Yeah.
And like now my pride's gonna hurt a little bit, you know?
I think a good part too is to know that you've gotten shot down. That's another thing I've seen. I've made moves and gotten shot down, and I'm like, that didn't work. I'm moving on. I'm not gonna keep pestering this girl wherever I'm at. We touched on it last episode, but it's just like. If I ask you to dance and you say no, I'm going to be like, okay. And I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like, are you sure? Let me buy a few drinks. I'm just like, no, you said no.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, so I feel like.
End up like Ann Perkins.
Ann Perkins.
I think that also stems from like, as kids we're taught, you know, like try harder, like. They did, like girls play hard to get, and it's like most times they say no, like they're just not interested.
Yeah, exactly. I hate the hard thing.
It's like I can take that, like you know, it's fine. Like if they're not interested,
like you're gonna get like turned down more than not. So just accept it and keep it moving.
See, but I've always played it very cautious, and like I've never like put myself out there in that kind of a way to be like to put myself up for any kind of rejection. So I'm just like, let me just hold my cards in, and like if they want to pursue something with me, then they'll then I'll believe it, like, and I'll reciprocate. But if like if I am feeling that. But if not, then I'm like I don't want to be like overly presumptuous. Like I don't want to like if I'm friends with somebody, I don't want to like lose my place as friends or something like that. And I just like don't ever really want to like do that specifically. I've never like had the interest in like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and be like, bam, rejected, drink. I don't want to end up like Brett Morin, you know?
I had a drunk email to your boss.
Yeah.
Lose out to a magician.
But like my personal rule of thumb, first date, I usually don't make a move because I feel like that it usually backfires.
Well,
and then,
what type of move?
Like a good night kiss. I feel like first dates, it's
interesting.
I don't know. So I'll usually wait until like 2, sometimes 3, but usually by 2, like we're vibing a lot, and I'm like, all right,
yeah.
We'll just find out before we get too far along.
And especially like those earlier on dates, like those are tough too because like I'm imagining you had some sort of rapport and like conversation like via like text message or something like that.
And it also depends
beforehand
on how long you were talking to.
Right, exactly. And the biggest thing for me is always always getting comfortable talking to the person face to face.
Yes.
And like you're still kind of in an awkward, weird spot where you okay, you can try and go for like a kiss at the end of a date, like on the first night. But at the same time, it's just like I'm still kind of awkward in this. Like I'm still trying to feel you out. I'm still trying to know you a little bit better. Like I don't want to like come across like obviously I'm like feeling this, but I'm not sure you're feeling this because I don't really know.
Just get like that half lean in there. Like,
yeah,
no?
like, I just don't really know too well.
The one
I'm
hug,
I go 90. They go 10.
And I feel like we just need to watch hits over and over and over.
Yeah. No.
But hey, like I said, like I just never especially on those first couple dates and like you're still like kind of feeling out the person that you've gone on those dates with. Like you still don't really know them specifically. Yes. Like you have built up enough of a rapport to like talk to them and have a conversation with them, but you don't know them well enough to be like, oh, like let me lean in for a kiss right now, you know. And that's just what I felt because like I'm still kind of like awkward. Like I still don't really have my bearings yet with this person. Like I'm not my most comfortable self. Like I haven't really opened up to my full self yet, you know. Because like it's the early stages of dating. Like, you like no one's gonna like lay it out on a table like in that first week unless this The Bachelor, and that's literally it. That's literally it. The Bachelor, Bachelorette, where like they're like, oh yeah, like my dad died when I was 2. My mom's been a crack addict since I was 6. Like
I got like beat yesterday.
Yeah. Like yeah, give me a rose right now. That's not how things happen in real life, you know.
Yeah.
And like I've transitioned well from like how I'm a good texter, so like I've learned how to adapt that into how I am in person.
Yes.
So like for me, like I'm not nervous. So like if we've been like talking for like a week and we finally met up, like you're going to get me, and if things have gone well. I'll probably lean in at the end of the night. It's like I feel like I know you well enough. Like I'm acting the same way, and if you're acting the same way.
So you're saying if you've been talking to him for a while?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, oh hi, how you doing? I'm so and so. You want to go out? Yes, cool. I'm not gonna go out at the first day. I just met the girl.
Yeah.
That I'm just like,
no, and I get that because like especially how I was like the beginning part of the relationship I'm in now is just like I would use. Like I have built up enough social skills like in my life now to like where I can like feel comfortable enough interacting with you like from person to person. Like I'm still not my most comfortable self because I haven't fully opened up, but like I can still sustain enough of a conversation based off of the text messages and like the things like that we've had that where I can actually like talk and like expand and like ask you questions about certain things in your life and kind of like see like your emotional see your actual reaction when like you're talking about like if something brings you joy, like you can actually see that and like you kind of like talk about things, like talk things through that, you know.
Seeing a girl talk about something like with passion, whoo, sign me up. That's a turn on. But okay, so I guess while we're on the topic, how far in do you guys like expose your true self?
Well, I usually wait until the 4th date until Peter comes out.
Peter is pet. It's
the
not
penguin
a
on
penis.
the.
Oh
It's
my
not a
God.
penis. We gotta clarify that right now.
Yeah.
Yes, for the listeners, it is a pillow
It
pet.
is in
For
fact-
the listener.
It is in fact not.
And a pillow pet is also not a euphemism either. There's an actual pillow pet.
Oh my God.
Well,
Literal pillow pet.
technically, it's pillow chum.
Pillow
It's,
chum.
it's an off-brand pillow
Okay.
pet, but the same concept.
So there's no alliteration. That's just useless at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, it's Peter the Penguin. That's alliteration. A lot cuter than the pillow pet penguin. That one looks weird. He actually has a face. And feathers McGraw. Anyway.
So you say around date 4 is when you like let out the full.
Well, I think it's a process because there are some things. If it doesn't come up, then I'm not gonna share.
Okay.
Like, not like dark secrets or anything, but like, I think it was like almost Thanksgiving where some of my high school stuff started to come out, just because me and my ex were taking trips back and forth between her family and my family and
Yeah.
back to where we live, and it was just kind of like we had stuff to talk about. Like, it never came up because me personally, I have a lot of stuff since high school. You know, it was high school and then my first college and then community college and then the last college that I actually graduated from. So it's a lot, and some people don't, like, even I forget parts of that sometimes. Mm-hmm. So unless it's like, sometimes I'll drop it in conversation. I was like, yeah, when I was like in the musical senior year, and she'd be like, wait, you were in a musical? And I was like, I was in 3 of them. Like, sorry, that just never came up because that's not. So I think it's more, I don't think there's a definite line of like, here's everything you need to know. It's
Well, not
more
that,
like,
but like when you like start making like your jokes and like acting a certain way.
Yeah.
You know?
well, I mean, I guess somewhat early on because I don't want to hold it back too
And,
much.
Yeah.
Like,
Like who am I dating right now?
yeah. Like, I might not be too. I'm a pretty sarcastic person, so I might hold that back a little bit. I know it is a shocker. I mean, that's me. Like, I'll say a few jokes here and there and see how they take it.
Yeah.
And if they reciprocate or laugh, then I know, okay, that's good. If they're just like, oh, well,
Right.
I didn't quite get that. Like, what are you talking about? And you're like, okay. Like,
Yeah, like so for certain things for me, it takes me a little bit to like open up, like open up about like more like my past, like, and things like that. But like I mask everything with a lot of humor. So, like,
retweet,
yeah.
brother.
So like, and like a lot of like kind of darker humor. So like I'll like bring up, you know, like certain things like how I used to talk to my mom when I was younger. Like, you know, like for example, like when I was like
I didn't want to go with this story.
when I was first talking, when I like the first time I was gonna go visit my girlfriend's house, and like I, you know, like,
first time as in your current girlfriend?
Yeah, my current
the
girlfriend.
Okay,
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you meant like the first time ever.
no, like my
Okay.
first time with my current girlfriend, like
All right.
Get Out had just come out a little bit ago, so like that was like still fresh in my mind. So like I made a joke about that like before going over to the house, you know. So like I'll reach a certain level of comfort like when it comes to like dark kind of jokes like that.
Just
But-
imagine you walking in, just be like, I would have voted for Reagan a third time if I could. Turn the tables
But
on
have
him.
you've heard the story of like what happened when I first went over there, right?
I think at some point I did.
No, like it was a literal Get Out situation.
Oh, kind not literal, but like
Okay, not literal,
but
like,
kind of. Like,
I'm glad you said your location.
yeah, like I did do that. I set my
No,
location
yeah.
with him before
I'm
I
like,
went
bro,
over there.
And then I did the same thing on Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. But like tree branches that literally fall in the middle of the road, like and she lives like way out in the middle of nowhere, like where there's like not like a whole lot of like civilization out there. So like, and she has like a really long driveway where like there's all these like trees and like wooded area and things like that, and like there's like a really bad windstorm and like big old branches fell down. She's like, oh, you could just like stay over the night and we can just clear them off in the morning. I'm like, seen this movie before.
And wasn't there also like no Wi-Fi too, or like very shitty Wi-Fi or something like that?
No, they actually didn't. Like they had really bad Wi-Fi at the time.
That's what it was.
They said really bad Wi-Fi and then like not great like LTE type stuff out there.
So
either.
couldn't contact anybody, and there
Yeah.
were trees blocking his back.
Yeah, so I was like,
I ran
so
out
I-
of data.
Yeah, exactly. So I put my my best He-Man on, and I was like, I have the power, and I moved. but that goes to show you that like earlier on, like that was like the first time that I met her parents. Like
Yeah.
I still had, like I opened up like some darker jokes. Like it takes me a little bit more to open up to like my full personality. Like I'm not like farting on the third or fourth date in front of her.
I was gonna say in front of her.
But like like and like
beside
that's
her.
like there was one time she's gonna be mad at me because that I'm telling her she's probably gonna listen.
She is one of our 5 loyal listeners.
She was like there was one time we were hanging at her place and like I had to shit so bad.
Oh no!
And I was like I gotta go. Like I gotta go. And like I was like my stomach feels terrible. I'm gotta go home real fast, and I'm like I shot home, and then I actually didn't tell her until like a few months ago. Like this is still early on when we were dating, and I didn't tell her a few months ago. I'm like like my stomach, I just had to shit really bad. Like and I didn't want to do it down here in the basement where it was just like the two of us. You would pause the TV, so it was like no other sound. It's just like exactly. So like actually like I don't open up in that sense, but like. Obviously, like whenever you date somebody for a certain amount of time, like you like more and more things, like less and less things become like taboo, and like more and more things become like okay, like I can do this, like we're comfortable, like we can talk about this and this and this, and we can do this and like do certain actions, like it's just
the first time I want to say it was the first time. First time I was over my ex's house. Her dad, there were a lot of like penguin figurines like in the kitchen, like above the cabinets. Not like in a creepy way, just like a bunch of little penguins. And so of course, like you walk in the kitchen when you walk in their house, it's the first thing I'm like, and I turned around, I'm like, there are a lot of penguins here. And she's like, you're gonna get along great with my dad. And penguins were his favorite animal because the male penguin keeps the egg warm while the female penguin does female penguin stuff. And that's how it is. So we got along, and then one thing I do miss, which you appreciate, Calvin, was the trash talking between Peter and Testudo for no reason at all.
no reason at all.
There was this. She had a
pillow pet versus
Testudo.
pillow chum.
Testudo terp pillow pet, and like the first time I saw it, I like Snapchat a few people, and I was like, this isn't Peter, and then it just became like, Testudo, you little bitch. Like get the fuck out of here, you'll never be as good as Peter. And then for Christmas they put away their differences, but yeah, that's what I think that's when you like first like, because I kind of hesitate on telling people we broke up, and then he's like, I didn't notice you weren't Snapchatting Testudo enough. But that's one of the things too, like I love penguins,
like an interesting thing, like when it comes to relationships and the ending of relationships, and like talking to people that like talking to your friends like that knew them, like that knew the person, because like they were like kind of a part of your life, and like now like you're not talking to them like at all anymore.
Yeah.
So if you're not talking to them, then like your friends aren't talking to them now at that point, So like it's always interesting to see like what happens like after that. Like,
or if you're
like
still
you start
somewhat
to follow
friendly,
people, like to follow them on like social media platforms and things like that.
So I guess if you guys are comfortable, I won't force it. But if you guys want to talk about the post relationship, like breakups or stuff, or we can just jump into questions.
Well, yeah, but like before we hop on, I know me. Like I want to say like I don't like share everything about myself because it's a lot to unpack. But also like if you ask me, I'll straight up tell you. But I'm not gonna just like put all myself out there. But like acting my usual hyperactive asshole self, I want to let that. I'd say I let like half of that loose the first date because again I'm a lot to handle for a lot of people. So I want to put that out there like hey like this is what you're gonna get. And then between dates like 3 and 4, it's just like all me, like my humor, which is also kind of dark and kind of fucked up sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just kind of get it out there, so there are like no surprises. Like, hey, like this is going to be me literally all the time. So here's your chance to like get acclimated to it, speak your mind, like jokes you don't like or something like that, so we can be on the same page and we can either move forward or move on.
I think for me it's introducing like my significant other, like my girlfriend right now, to like my high school friends.
Honestly, I was more afraid of that than like my family, because our friends group is a lot.
Yes, exactly.
Like if you think I'm a lot, just meet the other 7 of us.
Yeah. It's a pretty, so it's like obviously Tim, you know them too, so does Eric a little
I've
bit.
become acclimated with
this
group.
we all scream and berate each other, but it's all in love.
It's like tough, like especially for like a significant other who like sees you in this light for like how you are, like when you're spending time with just them, and then you shift over to like this group of friends that you've had since high school that like you've been this close with for a long time.
Well, you guys,
and it's like
you guys have,
and like how we talk to each other, it's just like
or act like did you just cup his dick? Like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I still love you though, but I just follow his chest.
Yeah, like there's things like that, like so like it's different to see that, and like I actually like warn my girlfriend now, like
anytime I'm introducing her, I'm like, hey, heads up, we are all assholes. We all scream a lot.
We're all fucking weird.
Yeah.
We are our own shit show.
Because like I would say like they're like my group of friends are like really important, and like it's important for me that like my significant other gets along well with like my closest friends, because I really don't want that situation where I have to like force and choose between like picking my friends or like picking my significant other. Luckily, like I'm in a relationship now where like she's meshed beautifully with all my like especially like you guys and everything like that. So like I have like nothing to worry about when it comes to that. Like I literally joke around and saying like my one friend is her other boyfriend. It's not real. It's not.
I know it's not real.
For the listeners.
Oh, sorry.
It was when we met. Because I don't really talk to a lot of high school people anymore, and they're in another state anyway. Even if we did still talk. So a lot of my first year from college, it's hard to explain when you're keeping things confidential. Yeah. But the friends I met a few years ago when I transferred to school, they were kind of like the high school group, and then like with my ex, she was like, I'm so nervous about meeting them. I'm like, I'm literally the same person. I was like, and then like we were reminiscing about stuff we did and stuff, and she was like, yeah, like you still do that, like you're still a similar person to where you were, like, so you guys just have crazy friends. It's what I'm getting at.
We're bananas.
And like I said, when we've known each other for this long, like we've like we've known each other since high school. Like I've known some of that group since elementary school even, and like it's just like you are like comfortable talking to each other in a certain way, and like I said, it's weird for somebody coming from the outside to see that and be like, huh, like you guys are talking to each other, like you guys hate each other. Like, how are you guys still friends? Like,
yeah, but like if somebody else said that to my friend, we're about to fight.
Right,
like,
exactly. Yeah, like I know,
it's like we can say it and do it with each other, but if somebody outside tries to do that,
it's like the sibling effect. Like I can bully you, but other people can't bully you. You know,
exact same concept. Yeah, we just take it to another level.
All right, so I guess this is this is a supersized episode. Questions. The first question for kind of all of us, kind of like grievances, will be best and or worst. You don't have to share both, but at least one. That is the rule here. Dates that you've had. So I guess I'll start with one of my worst. It was a girl I met off Tinder. This was similar to what we talked about earlier. We got along great via Tinder/text. And then she was like, how about we meet one day for lunch? And I was like, sure. It was a Saturday afternoon. And she was like, well, there's a restaurant that like I like, and this is where it is. I was like, it's like 40 minutes away. She's like, yeah, it's kind of near my school, but it's really good and worth it. I was like, all right, whatever. It's a Saturday. I got nothing else to do really. Like I'll make the venture out. Found out when I got there that she walked from her apartment to get there, and I drove 40 minutes. So off to a good start.
Oh yeah, how long did you walk for her?
Probably not that long if she walked.
Yeah.
It was like November too, so it was like a brisk
brisk ass walk.
Yeah. So
power through it.
Yeah. like SpongeBob delivering the pizza. But and then conversation was like I was asking questions, I was sharing a fair amount of like what I did inside. She was just giving me nothing in return, and I knew like 5 minutes in the day I was like, this isn't going anywhere.
And you can tell like early on if it's going to go well or if it's like an hour or if it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to like a Tinder kind of a date, like if you've like already been like texting somebody for a long time, like it could be just like awkward nerves when you're first interacting, but like if you're like
at a certain point I'm just like but the cherry on top was we were talking. I've already explained like I was a phys ed major and I played different sports growing up, and I even explained Chronom to her, and so she already knew I was had an athletic background, and she said something about the Super Bowl, and I was like, oh yeah. She's like, so you know the Super Bowl? And I was like, yes.
Is this a trick question?
Yeah. like she didn't. Yeah, like she didn't ask like if I saw like last year's Super Bowl, or she didn't ask like if I was doing anything for the upcoming. She was like,
she just said Super Bowl question.
Yeah, she was like, so you know what the Super Bowl is. I was like, yes. It's like teacher mode where you're just like,
yeah.
Like I have a lot more. Like I have a lot more to say right now, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Like, and I like walked out of the restaurant. I was like, yeah, that's. But that was one of the. Not that I've had a lot of bad dates, but that was by far the worst. Just asking me if I knew what the Super Bowl was. Yeah, I was like, yes. Like 50 million people watch it a year. Like,
yeah. Pretty well known.
Yeah.
Even if you don't watch it, you at least watch the commercials.
Yeah,
you know.
You at least know what it is.
Yeah.
There's been at the time there was 50 of them. Like.
I think the closest thing to a bad date I've had, it was just like super awkward. Like the first 20 minutes, like I tried making some jokes, they didn't land, and I started getting a little bit sweaty. I'm like,
check please.
This is going terribly, yada yada. And then it was like word vomit. I was like, I'm not good at this. I've been on a date in like 2 years, and I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, coming up. She was like, okay, awesome, me either. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So after that, it opened up and it was fine. But like that first 20 minutes was painful. I'll tell you what it was, but you know, I went to Franklin. Just got engaged. That's okay. I'll just tell you off there.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put her name up there.
I don't think I can think of any bad dates, but I always think that
was there one that wasn't as good as the rest?
I mean,
or
I really
good day. If you don't have bad dates, just share a really good day.
Yeah, for me, I always think the best dates are something that you're celebrating. So with my girlfriend now, we've been dating for a year, and the year long date that we had was awesome. You know, we had gotten a hotel down in the city. Really, and it wasn't even the night of the date itself. It was everything that encompassed it. So we were able to get a free hotel down downtown Baltimore. Points, gotta love points. Then we went to a really nice dinner. Got a bottle of wine that we just shared and sat there and talked and reminisced over the year that we had together and everything like that. And then we had a free breakfast the next morning too, a buffet breakfast at the free hotel. So it was a really well put together night and 24 hours, I guess, around 24 hours. And
those are my favorites.
It's nice to sit back and kind of unwind and just celebrate something and be positive about the relationship that you're in and just talk about it and be happy and just be hey, we made it, we've been at this for a year, you know. So that's that was my favorite date, just not only because it was more the most recent one that I can really think of and remember, but it was it was just I'd never done anything like that specifically for a date, you know, and it was really special, really kind of fun and just heartwarming, I guess, to be a Hallmark movie if I want to be.
the cue card. So like outside. Oh, sorry, Eric.
I would say the worst date. Oh my god, was with my first ex, and my parents were out of the house, so I thought like I'd make a dinner, like a real nice romantic dinner and everything, and she brought her sister over.
Oh.
And her sister hated me too, so I had no idea why she did it in the first place, and it was just awkward the entire night.
Yeah, that's tough.
Damn.
That was
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the worst day. I think the coolest date was when me and my ex, we went to Philadelphia and to see one of her like favorite rap artists, and we went up there and ate cheesesteaks like on the hood of my car and everything, like authentic Philly cheesesteaks and everything, and that was probably the coolest date I've ever been on.
Yeah, it's like nice. It's like good and laid back.
Yeah. It was like, we explored a little bit. We went and saw the Liberty Bell and everything like that.
Okay.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
My favorite, I guess, like date weekend that like I've like planned out with like my ex. Her favorite soccer team is Manchester United, which if you don't know is over in England. So we went to see them in Phoenix. But then just like actual like dating, like getting to know somebody. I stole this also off of a podcast I was doing actually. So I was living in New York and I met this girl, and so my thing was like, okay, like what do you absolutely hate doing? She said, I was like, okay, cool. I promise you that we will go do that and you will have fun. It can backfire easily.
Yeah,
but I was like, I'm confident, and so we went to the Met because she like hated museums, and I'm like, oh, it's so much to that.
Hate museums.
See,
Kind of old, uncultured swine.
Talk about red flags, but yeah, and so I was like, all right. But and like we had a bunch. She was like, wow, that was really fun. So like that's one of my like best like dates outside of a relationship, because it's like I got a girl to enjoy something that she said she hated. So that's always good. Yeah, the conversation was great. It was flowing. It was. Yeah. If you feel confident, try the move. Because if it works, whew, you can like Foursquare. Because then like anything else you do is going to be fun. Yeah. And it just sets things up well.
I had a really good date. I mean, it was with my ex, so, but it was around this time last year. We kind of established where we were in the relationship. She texted me asking to carve a pumpkin, which is something I never did with like someone date-wise. It was more like a school thing.
That's a fun date.
Yeah. So we carved a pumpkin, and she was dog sitting this really adorable dog. I don't know, but it was this really nice, like almost like orangey brown dog, and this little. It was like, I don't know, a few feet, like a little dog. Really friendly, and it was just kind of like going around the apartment, just kind of doing dog stuff. And we carved the pumpkin, made a pineapple. So we did that. Yeah. And then I asked her originally to go to like a haunted woods type thing. So like that was the original plan. She was like, well, we can carve the pumpkin before, like when you get off like for work, and then we could do that. And then we ended up going to a bar afterwards and meeting one of her like managers, and he ended up just buying like literally everyone at the bar rounds like every time you were out. So like we met her and we met him, and it ended up being, I cut myself off because I was driving, but like we stayed a lot longer than we intended. She was like, well, let's go for like 1 or 2 drinks and then like head back, and then it was like 8 drinks later. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, well, 8 for her, like 3 for me, because the guy was like, I'll buy you, this is on me, you can do it. I was like, but I'm driving, like that, there's no price on that, yeah. And then we drove back.
There's a price, but it's like price bond.
Yeah. So, and then we came back to her apartment, and she needed to walk the dog. So we walked around the neighborhood and just kind of held hands and walked this little dog around the neighborhood at like 2 a.m. because we stayed out a lot later than we anticipated. And it was like a nice fall night too. It wasn't like cold. Yeah, it was like hoodie and like sweats weather.
Fall weather all day.
Yeah, and I was really.
I love fall weather.
I need to move somewhere it's just fall year-round. And like just the fall days too. Besides apple picking, fuck that. That's stupid.
I'd love to do some apple picking. That sounds pretty serene.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Serene. You drop a lot of SAT words.
I try.
Exacerbated. What was the other one you used?
More like masturbated.
Okay.
Got him.
How old are we?
Okay. Yeah. So.
His first one was superfluous.
Yeah.
Yes. I love superfluous. I've loved that one since high school. because like there's not too many times where you can pick a word that's unnecessary as its meaning. Because it literally means unnecessary, but like the word itself is so unnecessary.
There's
that's what's so great about it.
It's funny when I watched the Psych Spelling Bee episode. The first time I watched it, when it like aired, I had no idea there's that scene where Gus just says words to like act smart, and Sean's like, "What are you doing? You don't talk like this." I didn't know half the words, and then I like rewatched it like a year ago. I was like, "Hey, I know all these words now."
SAT at its finest.
Yeah, I'm too smart. All right, so next question would be what, and I think this would be our last one because we're already over time. We're getting the light from the suits. Not really. Here you go on all night. What are some red or green flags that you see either while in a relationship or at the beginning stages, or just if you're single and see a crazy person out in the bar and you gotta tell your friend not to go for it? Like,
the crazy ass.
Yeah, what are some things you're just like nope, or some things you're like, that's a good sign, that means something good.
So a red flag, you don't respond well to my sarcasm because I'm sarcastic like 90% of the time. It is way too much. I acknowledge that as a fault of mine, but
so that's more like a personal red flag for you.
Yeah. Oh, we're talking like.
It could be either one.
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, then I guess.
There's no structure to Sqwadcast.
So I mean, yeah, like you don't react well to my sarcasm, that's a red flag because I literally cannot stop.
Yeah. Mine would probably be just like in general, just like not like laughing at the like not being able to like take my like taking my jokes too seriously, you know, like because like I like do like some like dark kind of like something like not really that dark, but like lightly dark, kind of like some twisted stuff and things like that.
Kind of un-PC.
Yeah, like not exactly the most politically correct type things.
I hate PC so goddamn much.
So like something like that where like you find that to like be offensive or like not funny or something like that, because like that's what I grew up with, like a lot like you know, like you guys know there's a lot of jokes I get are from my father, and like that's like not the most most politically correct.
Like don't get offended.
Don't be so sensitive.
Yeah, like I love everybody, but
yeah.
I can still make a joke like it's supposed to be funny, like jokes.
Like I get the idea of like sensitivity when it comes to certain situations, like certain jokes. Like obviously I'm not gonna like go out and like make like a Stoneman Douglas like shooting joke or something like that. Like I'm not gonna do anything like that, like because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm not completely like devoid of all interior emotions, but like I'd do something like that's like light, like you know, like the get out jokes and things like that. Yeah. But like nothing that's like
nothing like so. Brett Kavanaugh, right?
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
Like no.
So
great jokes.
about that 9/11.
Yeah, like I'd love to go and have like 12 beers with Kavanaugh and like, see where the night takes us. Like no, that's trash.
And then like Brett Kerr's my idol. LOL. Like no.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. Like there are, like I have a really stupid sense of humor because you couldn't tell by the Feathers McGraw costume, and just stuff like that. Like I think that's a big thing because like it's getting into my like psyche a little bit. But like I never had pets growing up, so I did a lot of like stupid stuff with stuffed animals, like as they were my pets. So I'm like a joke's a joke. Like I know when it's not a joke. Like you have to know. Like it happened with a girl I was talking to. Like I was like, like it's Peter's not a real penguin that I like take care of. It's just
like I'm not a crazy person. I promise you.
Yeah.
So just basically have a sense of humor.
Yeah, like sure he'll nuzzle to completion a few nights, but.
I remember the first time that was said in conversation.
that was such a came out of nowhere.
We need to put that on a t-shirt. Nuzzle to completion.
Yeah.
Did I say that first?
That was you.
Okay.
That was a Calvin.
No, I wasn't sure if that was like a Robbie.
And
like that's
no,
like
that sounds like Robbie's.
Yeah.
But Robbie said he's gonna get his beak wet.
Oh, that's it.
That was. That was. I think that was the first Wildwood trip. He said that. He's like, yeah, Peter's gonna get his beak wet tonight. But Robbie, I miss him dearly.
Oh, Rob's different.
Another red flag is like if they're like always like glancing at your phone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not going to bode well.
Or
it's like whenever you're on your phone, they're just peeking over at you.
Yeah, I'm like you can see it, but like,
or like
I'm on Twitter,
and it just makes you feel like you kind of have to hide. It's like, get out.
Like more often than not, I'm scrolling Twitter. Calm down.
Yeah, that was the thing with my ex too. Like we never got. One, we didn't have our phones out a lot when we were like together, just hanging out. And even if we did, like we wouldn't like say anything about it. Like she was open with like if she was texting a guy, not that I cared, because like you can have guy friends, like that's a thing that can happen. And sometimes she'll just be like without me questioning, she'd be like, "Oh, that was like an old coworker. He's having like girlfriend problems and wants to talk to me about it," or they. At my old job, this happened and fill me in on some drama, and I'm just like, okay, like it's nice you're still talking to him, but like,
see, I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but like me personally, I don't like where you have to explain yourself. So like what you just said, like you can talk, like I trust you, like don't care, like I don't need that. So
well, that's what like I didn't.
But it's like when she was saying when she starts explaining it.
Yeah,
you're
I'm like, well, like why'd you say that?
Why
like,
are you?
Also, yeah. I'm a drastic overthinker, so I'm like, well,
yeah.
I was gonna say like if they're just sharing part of your life, like oh this was an old coworker and there's drama going on, and I'm just filling you in on stuff that used to happen.
Like experience, like I hear that, I'm like red flag, like that's a cover up. She's trying to do this, so that's just my personal experiences and assumptions and.
I don't know. To me, like when I was in a relationship, I kind of the back of my mind, I was like, well, I'm the one that like she's with right now, and I'm the one like going home to her most nights.
Yeah.
Like
no,
that kind of calmed myself a lot, and I knew she wasn't the person anyway.
Oh
like,
no, yeah, I just can't think that rational. But no, and also like I will give you the thumbprint to my phone. Like I don't care. So if you want to see it, just ask me. Like don't just be peeking over my shoulder every 10 seconds. I'm like, stop. I don't like that.
It'd just be me Snapchatting to Studio, calling him a little bitch. Like, actually, if she listened, I don't think she ever knew I did that. I usually waited until she was like out of the room or something. I'd be like, all right, time to Snapchat. Because I'm not good at Snapchat while we're like watching a movie together. Like, I'd wait and I'm like, now it's my time.
And I think that's a big red flag for me too. Is like whenever like if like you do go out and like she's always on her phone or like they're always on their phone or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
at a certain point you're just kind of like...
It's like, you know, like be with the people that you're with, you know? Like, and like that's why like, you know, like it's like it's always terrible. Like you want to have a conversation with somebody. Like
so I mean that could be like a green flag basically. Like if you see her hanging out with people and she's never on her phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean like I said, like if you're hanging out with like a group of friends and like you're on your phone a good amount, like that's like I don't care about that. But like, you know, like I like it's nice to like have like the undivided attention. It's, you know, like and that goes both ways too. It's not just like I feel like I need the undivided attention. Obviously, like I'm assuming you do too. So I'm gonna like respect, like we're gonna like respect each other to not be on our phones and just communicate and, you know, and like just talk to each other and be with each other and things like that. You know, it's like it's a green flag. It's like an arrow pointing upward for you if you're not on your phone.
Upvote.
Yeah, upvote. Yeah.
Well, even before then, I think like a nice green flag is like them asking you to hang out or like them.
That's what I'm.
So instead of you asking all
like,
the time, they actually do it too.
Like, you asked me, like, oh my name.
It's like almost like a breath of fresh air.
I'm like,
damn.
Well, I'm like, wait, like, what do you want to do? Like, Roost Chris, because you about to get that.
Yeah.
Like, like,
just because they asked, do you want to do something?
Like, Roost Chris, yeah.
That's what happened. My ex had plans to go to like this Christmas thing in her hometown, and had plans with her roommate to do it, and I didn't make plans that night, but I was just hanging out. It was like right before the holidays, so I was kind of like getting stuff together. And then she like texted me like 2 hours before she left. She's like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, "What happened to your roommate?" She's like, "Oh, because of the snow, she went back home. So like, do you want to come with me instead?" And I was like, "Well, if you already had plans and like you're asking me to do it, like that makes me feel appreciated. That you're not just like, oh, plans are canceled. Like I didn't make plans with him tonight, so like he's probably doing his own thing. Like you made an effort to see what I was doing."
Yeah. And also like the sporadic things like that, like, oh hey, I'm in the area, you want to go blank, like one, you're thinking me while you're in my vicinity, and like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great thing too. Just
Or it's like, oh hey, like I saw this GIF. Do you think it's funny? Like you said that to me.
So you saw this what?
I love GIFs, so they're funny.
And so you saw
So
this
like,
what? This.
so if you send me a nice GIF or like tag me or something,
What are you saying?
What are these things?
That's pretty cool.
GIF
Peanut butter. They send me all the peanut butter in the world.
Oh my god.
You just opened up a can of peanut butter. Every time I'm in the grocery store, it's numerous Snapchats. Don't think I'm wrong. I'm going on a 5-episode streak against Snapchat.
No, I believe.
I follow through with my joke.
Every time we drive past a Jiffy Lube now, too.
Yeah, that's just like making the little effort.
Yeah, that's and like that's how you build, like that's how you make a successful relationship on both ends. You know, like it's like effort, like putting forth an effort on both sides.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've seen other relationships where I'm just like, you were obviously in the wrong because you weren't making an effort, and she was coming down to you, and you weren't going to her, and she was, you know who I'm talking about, but old coworker that our former editor. Yeah, that was.
I think a red flag would be like if you're out with your guy friends or something like that, and she's constantly checking up on you.
Big red flag,
Yeah.
I can't stand that. It's okay, like if you say, hey, how's the night going or whatever, but if she's constantly messaging you throughout the night.
How are you? Where are you guys now?
Yeah.
Are you still there? Have you moved? What's your location?
Do not go to a secondary location.
You said you were here.
Why didn't you text me for?
We're drunk. Like, what do you expect? Like, we don't make these rational decisions.
Why didn't you text me for 2 hours? Because my phone was off during the movie.
Aren't you home yet? We got pizza. We're drunk and dumb again.
It's also like very difficult because like I feel like a lot of bars have like the worst service.
A lot do.
It's terrible
in the world. Like you go like anywhere like out anywhere like downtown, like God forbid you get caught somewhere where, like there's like no service. Like,
you out there texting some bitch.
It's like
I'm not texting anybody. Like I can't even scroll Twitter if I wanted to because there's no service.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I'm guilty of like thinking about it, but I think it's that holding yourself back. Like even if she's thinking about it the entire time, but as long as she doesn't like go out of her way to be like, hey, where you guys at? What's going on?
Well, like I said, it's
like,
it's fine if she says like that
yeah.
1 or 2 messages, like, hey, how's the night going?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going great. Oh, that's great. See you when you get home or whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
Also, don't like invite yourself places. You know. So if I'm like, hey, like I'm going out with them, people are like, oh, so like I'll come too. I'm like, no, like I didn't offer you to.
I think that's just a red flag with anybody in general.
Yeah, like why are you inserting yourself?
Yeah.
Like if, so like say we're heading out downtown. It's like, oh hey, like I'm out with some friends. Like you want to meet up? That's fine, but like don't like Uber yourself to where I am just to be with me. Like that's
somebody Ubers themselves, then that's like a different level of
crazy.
Yeah.
That's like 4 red flags.
It's happened, guys. I'm like,
yeah.
Hey,
it's just like a line sweeper.
Like fancy meat here. Like
no, like I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hi, how are you? I'm like, why are you here? I'm like, I'm with my friend. Like, I want to see you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I'd see you in like 2 hours.
So that was an awkward night, but you know. Another grinner for me is like when they offer to pay, like even though I'm going to pay anyway, because like I don't like date just to date. Like I see potential there for however long it may be. So in my mind, if I see an offer to pay, if the time comes when I offer to pay half the bills or half the whatever, so that's a big.
Yeah, that was the thing too, because I took a trip with my ex for it was.
Or like even trips.
Yeah, it was the trip. Well, the part of it was paid for me. Part of it was hotel points from my dad. So
gotta love him. Hotel points from my mom. Man.
Yeah.
Game changer.
So,
nice hotel, king size.
Oh, you got the double dip too, the different things, and you're like, oh, if I add this one and that one, then it still works. It's the same hotel company. Yeah. Anyway,
it works, man.
But like I said, I was like, this is your Christmas gift. Like I'm gonna pay for everything throughout the trip. This is a 3-day, our first big trip together. Like I'll pay for everything, and then every once in a while she's like, no, I got this. She's like, no, I'll get that. I was like, this is your gift. Like I gave you this with the understanding
Like,
I was
you
gonna
sure got
cover.
vibes. No, yeah, like,
Yeah.
like obviously I'm still gonna pay, but just you saying that,
Yeah.
made me all warm inside.
Well, I didn't argue.
No, I mean, or
she was like, "No, I got this." Okay.
yeah, or if you're done, I'm like, hey, like,
Yeah.
we're far enough in now. Go ahead.
Yeah, just that constant back and forth, like little things, even like driving places. You know, sometimes she would drive, sometimes I would drive.
Yeah, it's like,
You know,
honestly, it's the little things.
yeah, it's a lot of like devils in the details. You know, like it's little things add up. So I think that brings us to an end where it's almost been 2 hours. We reached hour 41. So depending on editing, this might be our new longest episode, beat an hour 36. That was after editing. So we'll see where this one lands. How many awkward silences we had or us we have to edit out. but yeah, any last words or just
Breakups suck.
okay?
I mean, they're not fun.
You said any last words?
Yeah, so that was the guys' episode of Dating with Calvin and Eric and Anchovio, and me.
What?
We will have a part 2 of this episode, girls' view of dating, hopefully. So be on the lookout for that at some point, if I can get 3 girls with the same schedule to be in the same location at the same time. That's the tricky part. But yeah, comment what you think. Anything. We covered a lot. I don't know if I could recap everything we said because there were quite a few rants in this episode. But comment about dating, what your opinions are. Share. Share.
We didn't even get into like how dating changes from when you first start to like after months in.
We covered it a little
We kind
bit.
of
Yeah.
I mean,
dabbled
we
in it a little
kinda-
bit.
Like we kind of did, but no, it's just funny that like we just rambled. On,
Yeah,
just,
just,
like,
and then at
Just
some
have,
point
like,
you're just like
20-minute rant about gifts.
We didn't have that.
yeah. Yeah, so share, that's the biggest thing. Share, listen with your friends, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, at Sqwadcast on both of them, with a W.
And the Q, don't forget the Q.
Yeah, and a Q. Sqwadcast. Yeah. So that was it. It's been us. Guys, I'd be interested to hear girls' versions, and the girls' episode should be an interesting one too.
Saucy
And
fast.
the possible third one might get guys and girls get this heated debate going, or not. Probably not. Just maybe an opinion, or we'll see where the trilogy ends. It might just be 2.
Shit, that's not a trilogy.
It's a duet.
We
I don't know.
need-
Duology.
Duology.
We need.
Yeah, it's like what is it?
We need.
Wombology.
I will both.
I was just watching that. I just saw that episode the other day. I was cracking up.
I will both. You will both.
He, she, we, wombo.
Oh my god.
Wombo weenie.
Oh my god. Such a great episode. Man, kids today will never know that level of
It's
joy.
third grade, SpongeBob.
Yeah. Old SpongeBob is fantastic. First 3 seasons is what I've heard. I've heard the movie, the first movie is the cutoff of like this is where
Yeah.
you should
Yes,
stop
I
watching.
heard
That
as
second
well.
movie was god.
Dude, I didn't even want to watch that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
The
I heard it was
second
marketed bad. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like spun out of water or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
And instead of like their cartoon version, it's like 3D animation.
Oh yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, the first one was fantastic. I mean, David
First one
Hasselhoff.
is like a fantastic movie in
It
general.
really- yeah,
No,
Shooting
like, it
Patrick
really
and
was.
SpongeBob
By
through
itself.
from his chest.
Yeah.
And like they got wasted off ice cream.
Yeah.
That's an iconic moment. Like, waiter.
I always get the nuts. And he's wearing a nut on his head. So it's funny.
Goofy Goober.
Oh my god! And then
And
the
then
song
also,
at the end of words.
That guitar solo,
Yeah.
one of the best in history.
Patrick in those boots.
Patrick in the
fishnet.
fish-
Yeah, the fishnet stockings. Yes,
I'm a goofy goober.
that was great. What happened to that?
Oh my
I watch it
god.
at work at least once a week with the kid because it's just so good.
It's a
Oh
good
my
movie.
God.
Yeah.
Make SpongeBob great again.
Facebook, but that on the hat.
Now that's a campaign slogan I can get behind.
If you run with that, I will vote.
That is the slogan to save Kanye West right now.
Remember
There is no saving Kanye.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode.
Way in
by the way.
second place.
Yeah. I remember at a previous place of employment, me and Calvin's old place, it came up, but it was like a restaurant, so you couldn't hear it, but it was the marching band episode, and I knew every line. Like,
Oh my god, it's such a great
You know
episode.
what's funny? I downloaded like that song by itself on my phone.
I don't blame you.
It's by David somebody.
Like, there's like not even anything I could shit talk about that, you know? Like, there's
Like,
not even anything I could be like, oh yeah,
the
like
second
that's.
verse is so fire.
Yeah.
You don't win the silver, you only lose a gold. Woo! Bars, baby.
alright.
Stop recording?
Stop recording. Why would I stop recording at the best part?
I thought you already stopped. Oh,
No,
wow.
that's the glory of Sqwadcast. You
Oh,
never know.
man.
You never know. That's why
Yeah.
you gotta listen all the way through. Sometimes I don't on purpose. I just leave it going for a little bit and see where the conversation leads. Now it's been Sqwadcast, episode 35, part 1.
Yup.
Guys dating.
Breakup suck. Don't
Version.
forget.
It's GIF.
It is GIF.
Yes, it is GIF.
Jeff.
GIF.